Hello everyone, this is Dr. Dan from Access Analog, and today we're going to go through the connection tab. And if you understand the parameters on this tab, you're going to have a better streaming experience and you're also going to get better quality audio. So I've got my DAW set up with a test audio track. Doesn't really matter for this what you have on it, just something that needs to be playing and looping. And the next thing I want you to do is set your routing to standard maximum buffer. And then the first step that's the most important, set your format to be lossless and the same sample rate that your DAW is currently set at. I use Reaper at 441K, so I'm going to do 441K 24-bit. I'm going to connect to our Access Analog server, and when I do that, what you're going to see is this streaming across the bottom, and this is good quality streaming. If you see something where you're getting little jags or dropouts where there's black, like what I'm demonstrating here, that means your internet is not able to keep up with the streaming requirements that we have for this sample rate and the buffer size. So if that's the case, it's not the end of the world. If that's the case, you just want to try to drop down to lossless and then do 16-bit. Or if that doesn't work and you still get dropouts, then you want to go down to a compressed mode. And as I said, it's not the end of the world. All it means is when you set up your gear, you'll be using one of these lesser bit rates or a compressed mode. You get the gear set up the way you want, and then you do an offline bounce, which there's an entire video that we created that describes how to do that, where you upload your audio track to our server and process it from there, and so you still get pristine quality. But at this point, I'm going to assume that you can get a 24-bit lossless for the sample rate that you're at, and the connection looks very solid like mine here. So then the next step would be to drop the buffer size. I'm going to go down to 1200 milliseconds and make sure that you're still seeing, and as you're listening to your audio track, you're not hearing dropouts. The whole purpose of the buffer is to buffer up enough samples so that if you have a short drop in your internet connection, our buffer will be able to cover that, and then we make up for it so you don't hear any dropouts. In my case, I have a very solid connection, and I can drop all the way down to 340 milliseconds and run very, very well at that level. So I always do that because the buffer size dictates how responsive things are. Like if you turn a knob on a piece of gear, the smaller the buffer size, the less delay to you hearing that change. So I'm going to set it and leave it at 340 milliseconds. Now the next thing that I want to show is this routing. Once you've got your buffer size and your format set up, I want you to disconnect, and then I want you to go to the AWS and connect through the AWS. Now the engineers at Access Analog have worked very hard to get our connection to the Amazon network working. And what that means is when you're connected via AWS, you're actually using their AWS worldwide backbone, internet backbone, to stream your audio. Now there's a few caveats. If you're outside of the United States, this most likely is going to improve your performance. You're going to have a better quality uplink and downlink. If you're inside the United States, it might actually be worse because it may be physically closer. Since we're in the middle of the United States in Colorado, your connection might be shorter to go directly to us over the public internet with the standard routing versus going to one of the endpoints for AWS and then having to come back to our Colorado server. So try both modes. Everyone should try both modes and see which one works the best. We provide AWS routing for anybody who's made a purchase in the last 30 days or anybody who is a new customer just registered with Access Analog in the 30 days. So once you've figured out your AWS or standard routing, then you're good to go. You've got your format set to the same sample rate, so you're minimizing conversions, which will produce better quality audio. Couple tips that I want to pass along before I end this. If you connect to Infrasonic or Magic Garden, just know, I'm going to do an experiment here, just know that your connection will automatically be set to the format. Will be set to the sample rate of your DAW automatically. You don't even have to worry about that. It will do that for you. Now, for people that want to connect to the Access Analog's servers, know that we run our converters at 96K. All the converters are run at 96K. So if you want to get the absolute minimum number of sample rate conversions, what you should do is have your files at 96K, your DAW at 96K, and then set the format to 96K 24-bit. And then entirely through our system, there will be no sample rate conversions. And that way you'll have the best quality audio. I hope this is helpful for everyone. If you have any questions, just shoot them to me at Dan@Access Analog. And as we like to say at Access Analog, from our racks to your tracks, Access Analog.